Extreme Collectibles here, and I know you're thinking two things. Number one, my God, he's sexy. Damn straight. Number two, oh my God, not another review on Sideshow's new Rogue Maquette. And a lot of people are probably thinking that because this has been out for 10 days and everybody and their mom has reviewed it. Not only has everybody and their mom reviewed it, but their dads too. And probably the majority of collectors, this is the most amazing Sideshow statue. This is going to be Statue of the Year. I have to get this. It's awesome. It's really cool. Well, as a disclaimer, it is pretty freaking phenomenal. Best statue ever? I don't think so. Worth having? That's what we're going to find out today. And before we start, I want to emphasize, if you are looking to me for financial advice, watch my videos because I piss away all my money on statues, so probably not smart. But I'm just going to go from the hip and talk about whether this piece might be Collectibles here with Sideshow's new Rogue Maquette, asking the question, should you buy this piece? So first, a little bit of background. I talked a little bit about why I'm doing this segment in the intro. This is Sideshow's new Maquette. Maquette, nobody on earth knows what that means. Some people thought it meant size, but when you look at Thanos on Throne Maquette, Galactus Maquette, Alien King Maquette, Alien Queen Maquette, Magneto Maquette, Rogue Maquette, they're all different scales, so it doesn't mean that. Some people think Maquette means you can do a higher price tag. It may mean that. I think Maquette's just a fancy word to make us stupid people, I say us, stupid people, think it's fancier and want to buy it. But this is quarter scale. Sideshow made 3,000 of these. 1,000 are the exclusive edition, which comes with an additional portrait head, shown here. And then all 3,000 have this collector's edition head. And both are phenomenal, and we're not going to talk about how awesome this statue is. It's really, really awesome on all levels, from concept to paint, sculpt, all that good stuff. But it cost around $700, and what we kind of want to look at today is, should you buy this? Is it worth it to you? And obviously there is no answer, otherwise I would have started at the beginning of the Veggio. I was going to call this a Veggio. Beginning of this video. Should you buy this? Yes, case closed. But I want you to watch more minutes and watch more advertisements. So I'm just going to kind of talk about things that come to my mind, and as a disclaimer, my brain works faster than my mouth, which is probably a sexual joke in there somewhere, so I'm not sure what I'm going to talk about, but I usually am not when I do these videos. So as it comes along, we're going to kind of try and scientifically break this down without any preface. First of all, ask yourself, do I want a Rogue? Well, I would ask yourself, are you an X-Men collector? X-Men collector. First of all, I'm the type of collector, I could not just buy a Rogue and no other X-Men. There are a few statues out there like that that I think would be cool museum statues on their own. I think ARP Clash of Powers is one. I think Franco's Silver Surfer is another. There's quite a few others, but I really like staying with themes. So first of all, I would not buy this statue personally as a museum statue to sit alone. You may or may not. Second question is, if you collect X-Men, do you need a Rogue? A lot of people are going to say yes for multiple reasons. Number one, Rogue is kind of a founding member, quintessential part of the X-Men, whether it's the 90s cartoon, which I'm actually watching with my children right now. We get like 3 episodes a week because we're very busy. Or some of the original comics, or, you know, just when you think of X-Men, you think of Rogue. She didn't play, you know, that big of a part in the X-Men movies, and I really hope when they do the reboot in 5 years that they not only give her a big part, but make her as powerful as she really is. So for most people, if they're going to do an X-Men collection, Rogue is going to be a quintessential part to that collection. So far, if we're going and you've decided, hey, I want this rogue, let's talk about, or I want a rogue for my collection, let's talk about, do you want this rogue? First thing that jumps out on me on this is the base. First of all, it's a very, very cool base. It's the Danger Room, and there's some type of saw that she was fighting. I don't know why she was fighting a saw, but she's using her power not only to fly, but to completely pull it out of the ground, and the nuts and bolts are flying and the ground's broken. So first of all, this is an interesting base theme, considering Sideshow is doing a whole line of X-Men. They've done, as I said, a Magneto maquette, which is actually the base of that is a Sentinel head, and I've done that review. They've done a Wolverine premium format where it's a Sentinel hand. I've done that review as well. They have a Mystique where it's kind of the School for the Gifted base. They have a new Juggernaut coming out. They have an Emma Frost. They have, I'm trying to think, there's a number of them that are already released, and this is the newer run of them. They have a much older run, which we're actually going to talk about the older Rogue in a minute or two. And I'm sure there's more coming. I'm not going to be surprised if Cyclops and Storm and all them come out revealed in the next few months. Well, as I said, it's kind of an interesting fact. If you're a collector that I'm going to do an X-Men collection and I want the themes to either match or semi-match. So for example, the old Rogue premium format, which we're going to show pictures of in a little bit, it's just a simplistic base with an X on it. The nice thing about a base like that is it can kind of go with a Sentinel base, it can go with a Danger Room base, it can go with anything. This, if you like your bases to somewhat match, which some people don't give a shit, some people do. I do to an extent. I like to try and make them match. Right now, there is no other X-Men Danger Room bases that I know of. One that was just revealed that actually goes up for PO later this month is not by Sideshow, but it is by XM. And let's actually throw it up here. Here is XM Sabretooth in the Danger Room as well. And the pose on this is fantastic going up against Rogue. So that's definitely an option you could display. Maybe it's a buying reason to buy this. She could be fighting Sabretooth in the Danger Room and taking the saw to throw at him. And you could even throw a Wolverine in the mix where Wolverine's facing him, depending on what the base is. But again, we're kind of focusing on whether the bases will match. And I want to emphasize, some people don't care. They don't care if all their bases are different. Some people want them semi the same, and some have to be exactly the same. So if your goal is, I'm going to collect X-Men vs. Sentinel, and I want a Rogue, then this is obviously not the piece for you. Maybe it's a piece you can think about, because in my mind, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Maybe this can be a Sentinel piece. Maybe she's tearing apart a piece of a Sentinel. Who knows? It doesn't say Danger Room or anything on it like that. So that's something to keep in mind when you're considering purchasing this statue. Next thing, I just want to back up actually for a second. This statue is very, very good. So if you're only thoughts about whether I buy a statue, I don't care if the base matches, I don't care whether the character matches my collection or not. I just want a character I like, and you like Rogue, and I want an awesome statue. Just buy this, but keep watching for my own shits and giggles. So another thing to keep in mind, and to be honest with you, this is a pretty big one, is if you want a Rogue, do I want this Rogue? Well, the question for that is, what options do I have? So there's a number of Rogues that have already been done and some that are in the works, and some of the caveats of this, some of the Rogues that have already been done and some that are in the works are very difficult to get. But let's just talk about some of those for a little bit. So first of all, you have the old Rogue premium format, which goes for about $500, $600 on eBay. And one really cool recent find by Child of the Atom, he did a unboxing on this on his YouTube channel, is the heads on this will actually fit on that one because the head sculpts are horrible. So maybe that's an option for you. Try and buy one of these head sculpts from somebody and put it on that, whether you own it or you're going to buy it. Definitely a cool possibility. I even looked into buying some of the old premium formats to do that same exact thing. That's how I know they're going for $500, $600 in that range. So that's an option. Here's some other Rogue options right here. Here's a whole bunch actually. These are ones that have already been made. You have a Jungle Rogue. I can't remember the exact name of that. It's an older piece. It's a custom piece. You have an MVC, Marvel vs. Capcom Rogue, that's been released for quite a while from the Marvel video game. And right here is a Rogue that I believe this is sold out. and it's versus Sentinel Hand, where she actually showcases a number of powers. She showcases being able to use Wolverine's claws. Gambit's cards are another switch out she has. So there are Rogue versus Sentinel pieces, and we're actually going to talk about 2 more in a minute. One other interesting thing I was looking at when I bought this is one really cool part about Rogue is she kind of has 3 main powers. She's flies, she's super strong, and she can steal other mutants' powers. So I went throughout all my statues I have to see what could I do, especially like a Wolverine claw. Size-wise, the 1/5 scale Iron Studios Juggernaut diorama, Wolverine versus Juggernaut diorama works, but it will not stay in there. This is from, I can't remember what this is from. Oh, this is from my Fastball Special. The size doesn't work on this, but it's a very strong magnet and it stays. So I'm never going to display it like this, but it kind of gives you the concept of if you can find something where she showcases her absorption power. And this is almost borderline Mystique. I think when she touches Wolverine, she only gets her his healing power, because, you know, the claws are technically not, I guess they are a mutation. Let me know your thoughts on that. Do you think Rogue would get his claws if she touched Wolverine temporarily? So could be an interesting topic. So that's another thing with this piece. You could try and make it showcase the powers, kind of like that custom piece I just showed was. Let me show it again. So here, this is actually the prototype for it. And like I said, I believe it's sold out. Has a number of switch out to show Wolverine's power, Gambit's power. Actually, I'm just going to leave that on there right now. Some other ones that are coming out, 2 very similar concepts. One is versus Sentinel Head, where she's tearing apart. And this one, I think these are just the digital sculpts, the renders. Nothing else has been done with this. It hasn't gone up for PO yet. I could be wrong. And then another one, long sold out, extremely popular by an amazing sculptor who makes a lot of the pieces I have. Rogue ripping apart the Sentinel Head. This one I think is phenomenal. And for me, I actually have a couple of those, of some of the ones that you showed on order, and I didn't want to pull the trigger on this one, but all those damn videos, especially Gem Mint Steven's video. Do you go by Steve? I should ask you that. But look at that, I'm thinking of Gem now, not of the statue. But what the hell, man, you are distracting, man. I actually just bought a statue from him, and it actually arrives in a few hours. What the hell was I saying? God, I can't stop thinking about you in a totally heterosexual way. But yeah, so lots of different options with the Rogues coming up, and I'm sure there's some out there, older pieces that I haven't even thought of, and it's not going to surprise me. Generally, when a character comes out and there's huge success, people start making it, whether it's custom or licensed or anything like that. And of course, Sideshow has the exclusive license for the quarter scale Marvel. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. So you won't see too many more licensed pieces of Rogue coming out. I think the last factor is, investment-wise, is it worth it? Well, at $700, that's about your going rate for a good quarter scale statue, if not higher, especially when it comes to the custom market. So is the resale value going to stay up there? My initial gut says no. So there's been so many pieces coming out, and right now the market is being flooded, and you are seeing custom and licensed grails sell for so much less than they have, because people need capital to buy and pay off everything else they have on PO right now. And I don't see that slowing down anytime soon. There's all these new companies that not only are coming out, but they're doing much better and stepping up their game, and so many great pieces, whether custom or licensed. So I think that's one factor working against, if I buy this today, can I resell it and at least get my money back? My gut says no. However, I look at Thanos on Throne. Probably, I think prior to this, that's the last truly exceptional piece that Sideshow did. And there might be one or two in between those that I'm not thinking of, but that just impresses the hell out of me like this one does. And that one's still going for at or above retail, and they made 5,000 of those. And not only that, but there are tons of other Thanoses coming out, and it's holding that value. And granted, there's a lot of hype with, you know, the MCU and Endgame that obviously does factor into that. So My guesstimate is if you buy this, especially the exclusive, you will be able to get your money back for the next few years. So I think from an investment standpoint, given the current statue collecting market, I think this is an okay thing to do. So those are kind of my thoughts. I hope you at least enjoyed watching and maybe you got something out of it. Please let me know your thoughts, whether you think that A, she would absorb Wolverine's claws, B, if you think that this investment will stay with this particular statue, and C, if you plan to get a Rogue and if this is it, or if you already have it. So some cool topics. I don't want to throw out another statue review because there's so many great ones out there. So like I said, go check some of those out if you really want some detail on her. But I really appreciate you guys watching. Please give me a thumbs up if you liked it. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down and watch me for the next one to give me another one. So thanks so much, guys. Take care.